According to SAMHSA's National Survey on Drug Use and Health, approximately 20.3 million people above the age 12 suffer from substance use disorder. Incredible. The disease of addiction takes an average of 130 Americans every day. Sadly, the opioid crisis, which many consider the worst pandemic of our time, has been even further perpetuated by the spread of COVID-19. Since the start of the coronavirus outbreak, drug overdoses have increased by 18%. Factors like economic stress and social isolation have led to increased depression and unnecessary deaths. A Better Life Recovery is a premier addiction treatment center in Southern California, offering one of the most highly regarded and comprehensive addiction treatment programs in the United States. Dedicated to helping its clients achieve complete inner and outer transformation, they offer a 45 to 90-day program custom tailored to meet the needs of each individual client. Long-term is the way to go. Many of A Better Life's clients elect to stay up to 9 months to receive additional support. A Better Life Recovery will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to ensure the success of every client. Are you ready for a better life? Go to abetterliferecovery.com or call 866-581-4401 now. As we're gradually moving back to opening schools and businesses and, of course, our in-person interactions, I want to remind you, this is all time with cold and flu season getting going. Staying hydrated is key to helping your body deal with the added stress and with the upcoming flu season. My regular fans have heard me talk about a product called Hydrolyte for a long time now. It's an amazing rapid rehydration drink. It's a mix that, well, we're obsessed with here. I'm excited to announce they've just released Hydrolyte Plus Immunity, just in time for cold and flu season. Hydrolyte Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and adds a host of immune-boosting ingredients. Each single-serve, easy-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 300 milligrams of elderberry extract, creates what is hopefully immune-boosting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Combining this with Hydrolyte's 7 key electrolytes, it's a fantastic way to stay proactive and properly hydrated. Hydrolyte Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water and make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors, and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, and it is vegan. And you can find Hydrolyte Plus by visiting hydrolyte.com/Dr. Drew. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use our code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount.
Hey everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew.
And here we are, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have our chat group come in from locals, and we're going to have as a guest the one and only Mike Catherwood. And I think Rudy might swing by as well. And as you see, you guys are all there on the restream.
And you go to drdrew.locals.com, and if you're a member, you can get in the chat with us.
Joseph says, I've been struggling with depression on Abilify. My doctor increases the dose instead of taking me off. What's my suggestion? Joseph, usually Abilify is used with another antidepressant, so you might make sure you're seeing a psychiatrist. If you're having actual suicidal thoughts, that is a medical emergency, and you deserve really specialist care in that case. So Abilify is not a bad medicine, but it usually is with something else, so I'd be worried about that. Also, we are deep in a outbreak here. I think everyone's aware of that. I'm looking some of the local stuff around this area. Orange County is getting hit pretty hard, but LA County seems to be coming back down. I think I'm seeing evidence. Of course, only the virus knows how bad this outbreak is going to get. But I think this outbreak is such that everyone knows someone who's sick. Everyone knows someone who's got something. The hospitalization rate has still remained, it's high, but it's remained low compared to the total number of cases. Death rate, unfortunately, is going up a little bit, but seems to have come back down again. What I wanted to say was, I think we're going to get near a plateau. I think it's going to turn pretty soon. I think. Again, only the virus knows, but it's looking to me when I look at these numbers like it's sort of like ready to turn the other way. And if we're lucky, sometimes these curves look the same. They go up the same, go down the way they come up, and maybe this will be very steep up and a steep down. That's wishful thinking, and we shouldn't succumb to that. But there are some reasons to believe that it's possible. We will see, though. The good news, as always, is that people are not dying at the rate they were, that the treatments are working, and the vaccine is underway. AstraZeneca was announced today. And there's my panel next to me. Let me look at the restream for a second before I bring Mike in here. Alberta, Canada is going up. You see, sort of everywhere is going up. It's kind of interesting. There's people seeing George
There's
out
Joe.
there.
I can see Joe's face now.
Okay, we got pretty much everybody
Hi.
in the house. Hi, Joe. All right, let's bring in Mike Catherwood. Bring Mike. Kay Smythe is with us again today, too. She's joined the chat group. Let's bring Mike forward here, the one and only Mike Catherwood. There he is, raising his hand. There he is. Thank you, my friend. So, do you want to tell that story that you were just telling us, or is that somewhat confidential?
Not really. I mean, there's so much negative shit in the world. Why not focus on some happy, fun stuff?
Yeah.
All right.
How about that?
So-
And sorry about the planes. I live in Dunkirk. I
So,
don't know.
how are you? You said you were just recovering from something, and I thought to myself, which I forgot to bring up to you before the mic started heating up, was were you recovering from those 500-pound deadlifts? Is that what we're talking about here?
No. Come on. I snap right back.
That was annoying
Why?
because I can't do that anymore. My old joints won't let me do the heavy stuff, so I find it very distressing watching you do
How
that.
is that annoying? You're a smart guy. You also are. I hate to put you on blast, but you're 21 years older than me. 22 years.
At
older
least.
At
I
least.
think that's
And,
being. I think that's being kind.
You are successful and have a job and 3 children and all that. Like, I don't have any of that. I'm 41 with 20 something years of heavy experience and committed like adherence to a lot of training because I don't have anything else going on. So
Yeah,
like fine,
okay,
be
now this
jealous
is-
of
we're-
that.
we're going
I'm
deep.
jealous
This
of
is
this
true.
fucking house and
He looked pretty
your
good at
car
41 though, I
and
gotta
your
say.
wife and all the other fun shit that you have going on in your life.
You got to listen carefully to my wife. I used to look good.
No, I mean, I'm not saying. Oh, sorry about my phone. He looks good now. He looks great now. Actually, he looks a lot better because
Yeah,
of his
no,
protein
listen.
diet. But
Susan just pointed out I'm not one of these guys that's like pro man, super anti feminine anything.
Yeah.
But let's be very clear. This world favors the man. That's not even open for debate in my opinion. Every smart individual should recognize that there's kind of an undertone of chauvinism and certainly like a patriarchy at play. But there's fucking huge advantages to being a woman as well. And she just pointed one out because if Dr. Drew even accidentally went, well, my wife used to look good, he fucked for months,
That's
if
true.
not potentially
I
a
can tell-
divorce.
Here's the.
You know,
My
Bean
wife
said
would
that to
fuck
me once.
up.
Yeah, Bean said.
He goes, "You probably used to be hot once." The first time I met him.
And let me.
I'll
be,
never forget it.
Let me
Sorry,
be clear.
Sorry,
she
honey,
looks,
I didn't mean that.
She looks great, and I have nothing to complain about. Nothing.
Thank you.
No, Susan's amazing. I'm simply pointing out like there are little social differences that make it a little easier to be a
I'm
lady.
sorry, honey, I
There's
didn't
a handful. It's not many, but there's a handful. And that's one of them.
So hey, Andrew Ashkazvili, I see you on the thread here. You said, oh my God, that Barbara Ferrer just put a full lockdown order in, even though our
What?
case number is down. This is
Oh,
really
no.
sorry. It's time for the pitchforks, everybody. It's time for the pitchforks. I swear to Christ. But Andrew Ashkazvili said the Oxford vaccine looking good today, up to 90% effective. I saw 70%, Andrew. Tell me why I saw 70% in a headline, and you're saying I also heard 90%. So help straighten that out for me. Is it 90 or is
Sorry
it
about the
70?
dog.
I could
Yeah.
actually answer that, Dr. Drew, if you want.
Go, please, Joe, tell me.
All right, so they did 3 different tests. The first test that they did was one dose, and they found that was relatively 70%. Then they did a small dose and a decent, and a regular dose. They
Right.
actually did 2 doses, but a small one and a larger one, and that came up to 90%. Then they did 2 full ones, and that actually was less than the small and the larger one.
Interesting. So is anybody having concerns about these? I'm wondering if embedded in the good news is something not so good. In other words, this 90% efficacy that we're getting, might that be a sign that we're overdosing these vaccines a little bit? And this AstraZeneca thing sort of brings that up for me a little bit.
Well, what I read was that with one dose, it may not necessarily attack what it needs to do.
No,
It may
I
not
understand.
actually do its job.
I understand. I get you. Anybody else on the panel have opinion about this or knowledge about it?
Dr. Drew?
Casey?
Leopold?
Leopold. Yes, Leopold. Tell me.
Yeah, so what I found what was interesting was the when Pfizer announced its efficacy rate, it announced it, like around 90%. Then Moderna came in higher at 94.5. Then Pfizer came back like a couple of days later, and it came back 95. I think there's a kind of a bidding war on the efficacy rate.
Maybe, though, let me tell you what happened. I actually looked into that. And the reason that happened was when they reported 90%, they had like 94 cases of COVID that had broken out in the placebo and treatment group. But 90% of those 94 cases were placebo. Their goal was 170. And because we had a huge outbreak that developed, they ramped up to 170 almost immediately. And that was a 95% efficacy. That make sense?
Oh yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. But I agree with you that the target somehow, I mean, and Joe just brought this up for me, that they found 70% efficacy and went, not enough. We got to get up there with Moderna and Pfizer. And I'm wondering if that's where the excess is going to come in this story. You know what I'm saying? That seems a little weird to me. Anybody else? Are we still there? Leopold's quiet.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, one of the things that I'm always taught, especially in law school, is there's no such thing as coincidences. I don't believe in that. So I think that there is, some manipulation. How to lie with. Yeah. Well, the first book that you learn in statistics college class is How to Lie with Statistics. So I'm always a little wary, especially when there's millions, billions of dollars to be made.
But you're a scientist, and you know that scientists really try to remain objective, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They really do. But there might be subconscious or cognitive distortions or things that people aren't thinking about that affect their decision making. So even though they're trying to be fully objective, it may not be something sinister. It may just be how our brains work that gets in the way. Bring Mike forward again, Mike Catherwood.
Yes.
So you've been good? Everything good? Your daughter's good? Your wife is good?
Oh yeah, we're as good as we can be.
And you're still doing your podcast?
I am.
Tell people about it.
Cisneros made his first appearance on my podcast yesterday.
How do you
do? Great. He's a bit adult in his content, but he was caring as always. He's a smart guy.
He is wise. I don't know about smart, but wise.
That's
right?
the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not dumb. Not that I'm saying he's dumb, but he's got a wisdom that exceeds the normal, the average. And are you watching anything interesting on Netflix or anything? Anything caught your fancy? I haven't talked to you in so long. I want to know what you're doing. I'm used to seeing you every damn night on the radio, and now it's like I haven't seen you in 6 months. It's weird.
It's like catching up with your ex.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you for that. I'll hear like giggling in the background.
I finished that in like 3 days with my wife.
What? What'd you finish?
The Queen's Gambit.
Oh yeah, it's good, right?
Very, very good. Yeah.
It's so good. There are a couple notes on that. It's so good. Again, whenever I see like performances by an actor or actress that are so good, like so uncannily accurate, I immediately get concerned for the performer. So I'm worried about her. I don't know what's up there because it was too good, right?
I wouldn't worry too much because, the character, not to give too much away if you haven't seen it, but the character's clearly profoundly abused, and there's a lot of trauma there.
Yeah.
But it's not like she, in her performance, reenacts or revivifies any type of abuse. The stuff that concerns me is when I see a performer engage in something abusive and they do it really well. Yeah.
So it's funny yes, I know what you're talking about, but I get concerned with both sides of that coin. But the other thing I will say, in addition to her performance being kind of extraordinary, was the rendition of Out of Control Alcoholism was spot on.
Well, yeah, it was. But the thing that I always look at with addiction, and alcoholism on camera is that for, I don't know, 60 years, Hollywood did it in such an aggrandized way. Now, granted, that's kind of their job, is to over exaggerate things for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah.
But only in the last like decade have you started to see like the subtleties and the reality of addiction really be well portrayed on screen, and that was just another one of them. You know.
Tell folks, and by the way, people are asking about the Rudy show on my thread here, but I'll let you decide if you want to talk about that.
I mean, no, I'm happy to talk about it. It's not like I got to keep anything close to the vest. It's just that it was a big it was a gigantic emotional house of cards that came falling down. But essentially, I have a character, a close friend of mine that has been very popular in radio and in social media for a long time. His name is Rudy, at Kulo Breaker on Instagram, and he used to make many appearances on the Kevin and Bean Show, and then subsequently on Loveline. And he's very popular. People like him very much.
Oh, he'll make an appearance today. He will show up. Rudy's coming by today.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I strangely, he's on lockdown with me. But
was that Rudy's cactus that you sent me the other day?
That was his cacti. Yes. But yeah, I got somehow a bunch of consequences or circumstances came into play, and I got to develop a TV show about him, an animated show with Ed Helms and Fred Armisen and Danny Trejo, and it was really great. Comedy Central picked it up. We started working on it. It went really far, and they had to sit on it to decide when to program it. Well, like a year went by, 2 years went by, and after a while, like about 2.5 years, they go, "Sorry, we're going to let you out of your contract, and we're very sorry to disappoint you." And I was like, fuck, I guess this is how Hollywood, So you just try again. You pick up the pieces and you get back on the horse. And tried to resell it and had some trouble. Then Fox picked it up, Fox Animation. So I'm like, even better. I'm going to be the next Seth MacFarlane. Then Disney bought Fox, and they're like, no fucking way. This is too vulgar.
That is a perfect television story.
That's what happened to you.
Yes, it's happened to me. That kind of happened to me about
Loveline.
3 times. That's happened to me.
We went from Fox to MTV.
So then I'm really disappointed.
The day before.
Now I'm sunk. And about a year goes by. This whole process is now taking about 5 years. Quibi comes along. They express interest. I sell it to Quibi. Now they're like, do whatever you want to do. No restrictions. Artistically, feel free. Start developing, writing scripts, storyboarding everything, getting everybody together. Lockdown happens. So then we have to put production on pause. So lockdown happens. We're all kind of like twiddling our thumbs, trying to be artistically active. And then we're getting really excited because the contract's still valid. And I'm like looking at the money and I'm thinking, this is going to be great. And then I get the news about 2 weeks ago that Quibi is
no more. Yeah, no more. But it sounds like you've got a lot of production underway. Maybe you can pull that away and keep going.
Yeah, and I get, luckily, Quibi's been great about like the intellectual property. It's not,
great.
They're not being stingy about it.
Great news. That is huge news.
Unpack it somehow.
Andrew Ashkasvili says, I'm still very upset. We should have 2 emergency use authorizations this week on a vaccine. We are simply just waiting around for the FDA to meet. No rush or anything. States are just shutting down again. Andrew, I was furious yesterday about this too, but I looked into it a little bit, and apparently they have a pre-auth meeting committee that's setting up the standards for review that may hasten the review in the first week of December. So I'm hoping what that is. Otherwise, it's unconscionable. Speaking of alcoholism, Mike, tell people the story about Don Draper and what happened to you watching him drink.
So if you're at all familiar with Mad Men, you know that Don Draper, the protagonist, struggled with alcoholism at various levels kind of throughout the show. It really there was a lot of like ebb and flow with it, which is, pretty realistic. It's not like this, uniform thing. And he comes to the conclusion that he hits his essential rock bottom and decides he's got to do something about it. But this is 1965, so he's not about to like go to a meeting or anything. He's just gonna white knuckle it, and he starts exercising, and he's like, I'm gonna give up the bottle. Well, after the weekend ends, when he makes this decision, he goes back into work the next Monday, and he sits down at a meeting, and all the other colleagues of his start pouring drinks, and one of them is holding his highball glass and clinking around the ice in it. And Don starts to get this really visceral reaction listening to the ice and looking at the drink. And you could see John Hamm is such a talented actor. You could literally see, like, with the countenance on his face, how much internal struggle.
Does John have alcoholism too? Is he also, am I right? He's a recovering guy?
Yeah, I believe he
Yeah. So he would have really kind of relate to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's keep going.
So he starts to have this kind of reaction. And I'm watching this, and you gotta understand, I don't feel anything coming on. I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, wow, this is a great show. I'm appreciating the acting.
Great scene.
Out of the blue, I fucking projectile vomit onto my living room table. And I mean, like a Muppet baby, you know, like it wasn't even like
Brian from the Family Guy. Ah!
And it wasn't even like the volume as much as it was like I did not feel ill. I didn't feel, and it was so crazy to me. It was so almost like it was so surreal how I could, at the time I was probably sober for 15 years or something, but yet I had this instinctive connection to what was going on, and I wasn't even intellectually aware of it, and my body reacted that way.
And that's something that to me is a wonderful story about how much of a takeover the disease is. You know, it takes over your body, soul, spirit, everything, right? Yeah, it's very interesting.
That almost sounds like a Pavlovian. Is that a Pavlovian?
Well, it's Pavlovian in not in a.
I had to sneak out to get a Pepsi. I was going to send you a message, so I realized I was looking up now.
Wendy, you talking to us? Or are you talking to somebody else?
No.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Okay.
More like Drew. It's like those. Take out the epidemiology of it, but just like in the actual reaction, it's like those rats.
And it's not, the idea of a classical conditioning paradigm. I'm trying to figure my way out of it because I know it's not a classical conditioning paradigm. Yet, much like the rats hitting the lever, it's one of those phenomenon where the full wave of feeling and drive and also trauma that comes with the acknowledgement and the connection with that feeling creates a visceral response, and that response was vomit, and that's the chemoreceptor. It's called the chemoreceptor trigger zone in the brain, which we don't fully understand. So I can't give a easy sort of neurobiological model for why it happened, except it does not surprise me, given how tightly bound to our body the experience of addiction is. Andrew Ashkazvili saying doses of Regeneron start to ship tomorrow. Excellent, because if I get COVID-19, I want Regeneron.
Did you see what the guy said right underneath that? Michael, like this.
His nipples look like suction cups.
What is that, Kay? What'd you say, Kay?
Is that what it says?
His nipples look like suction cups. Thank you.
Whose
Thank
nipples?
you, Jesse.
Sweet.
Whose nipples?
I had actually, along those lines, Drew, I had a question, a medical question.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's other people on the panel that might be able to answer this. This isn't a joke, okay? Like, I'm not trying to be like bonehead, like class clown guy. I'm being dead serious, okay? So analyze this question seriously. You know how Trump, the president, got COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they airlift him to Walter Reed. Understandably, like, regardless of what you think about the man politically, he's the president of the United States. You got to pull out all the stops. He's the president. So they airlift him to Walter Reed. They pump him full of a cocktail of some shit. 4 days later, he's like, whoa, like Randy Moss and Savage, ready to rock. He's 76 and in terrible shape. Okay.
Yes, correct.
In my brain, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I know it's probably not cheap, but they've got to be spending trillions of dollars in the long run when it comes to subsidizing whatever fucking vaccine comes our way, and then the lockdown and all the money that has been
lost
that you have to take into consideration for all of this. Why don't they just give all of us that?
It's coming. That's what I just announced, that it's shipping today.
Yeah.
And that's what the Regeneron was there are two things, well, there are three things he got. He got Regeneron, which is 2 antibodies that are directed right at the spike protein on the virus. That's probably what made him well, because he was going down and 24 hours later was back up. Then he got remdesivir, which is the antiviral medicine. And then what made him Randy Savage was Decadron. They gave him Decadron, and that's the treatment I want.
Different than Decadurabolin?
Very different.
Okay, good.
It's like prednisone, and this is what this is what I want if I get sick. I want that combo.
Okay, so honestly though, why not give up on the idea of vaccine, which is admittedly
it's because it's all of the above. Because we didn't know which was going to come out first, we didn't know how we were going to distribute what. We're moving on all fronts. It's like saying, hey, you landed at Normandy Beach and you made it on through to Germany. Why do you have to be fighting in the Pacific at the same? You know what I mean? It's like
gotta cover all fronts. Okay.
Yeah, it's all fronts have to be covered. So and we don't know which is going to break through. We don't know where we're going to have success. This Regeneron thing, I've been very impressed with from the beginning. Let me see what the stream says. We have
Somebody wants to know what Decadron does. I was trying to
Decadron is a steroid like prednisone, a corticosteroid, not an anabolic steroid like Mike's likes to use. So it actually breaks muscle down instead of building muscle up, but it makes you kind of high. You could see, I woke up the morning after Trump was hospitalized and he was tweeting and everything was in all caps. I went, oh, that's Decadron. That's Decadron. He was getting hypomanic.
Well, why was that surprising? Like, he's not prone to hyperbole
everything was in caps, and I thought that's Decadron, and he seemed super high from it. That's what it makes you super high, and then you can crash on the other side too. And it's a sort of a sledgehammer immunosuppressant. And it seems to be working very, very well. I mean, if you watch the stuff we do with Dr. Yo and Dr. Patterson, he and I are trying to understand how to zero in on the cytokine activation system. And we're finding things that work. But so far, Decadron is still a pretty damn good intervention. Andrew Ashkashvili is saying, I heard Trump was actually very sick. Yeah, he was. I heard he was going down and going down fast. And
really? Nobody told me.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like his life was in an imminent danger, but he was,
CNN wasn't doing a tap dance.
He was going the wrong direction. Does cannabis kill COVID? Buckets asked. Not that I know of. Not if it did. If cannabis killed COVID, there would not be much COVID around.
I was going to say there'd be no COVID in California.
That's right. Exactly.
I can't believe, actually, that's a funny little thing to bring up. And Drew, and you and I are in the same boat. Regardless of what we practice in our personal life, you and I hold no judgment when it comes to cannabis.
No.
Frankly, I'm pro weed. If you want to smoke and it makes your life better, go. You smoke all you want, all the live long day. But I am really kind of blown away at how pervasive and ubiquitous marijuana use has become since kind of the cat's been let out of the bag legally. Meaning, like, I'll go to like a parent-teacher thing, and like suburbanite, wealthy, fucking full-on PTA parents are like, yeah, well, just took our edibles before we got here. I'm like,
what did you expect?
I don't
I mean, they talk about their wine.
That's how you get
They talk
through
about
it.
their wine in the afternoon and stuff too.
Right.
It's the same thing.
I never drank before
you
parent-teacher
gotta look
meetings.
at it. My whole life, all of us on this, our whole life, we've been accustomed to alcohol being legal and being readily used in this country. I mean, all of us, every single one of us, regardless of our age, on this panel, that's just something that's been normalized. I stopped using drugs and drinking in 2002. So now, all I have as far as like recall and association to smoking weed is a bunch of dudes who in old Grateful Dead shirts or like gnarly ass heshers. And now I am awakened into this new world where like people are going to play fucking squash at the country club and they're like, oh yes, I just got my new indica and it's fucking a great strand for me to go and get everything done.
Yeah, listen, the one thing I'm grateful for, I realized this the other day, which is that we're not going to put people in prison for marijuana violations. That to me, the fact that we had that is that in itself is criminal. So we get all those people out of the prison. That's a good move. Whatever we do with the drug once it's legalized, we got to figure that out. It's having some adverse effect here and there, and it's having some beneficial effect here and there. So Before I bring Rudy in, anybody have any questions for me or Mike on the panel? I see you all there diligently listening. Mike and I rekindle our friendship. We haven't seen each other. It's weird after it's like being like back with an ex or something, a family member. We literally were together every night for 5 years, 6, 7 years.
And sexually active.
Well, that goes, of course, it goes without saying. You know, why do you have to say that?
Just in case anybody wasn't aware.
Okay.
I got a question for Mike.
I want to ask what the detrimental effects of cannabis are first. Is that okay?
You want to know what they are?
Yeah, because like this is obviously what I do like with a lot of my work, and I'm just like haven't seen any.
Yeah, so some people it's none.
There are some.
Well, there are some. Like with any drug, right? With any substance, any medication, there's always downsides. There's no free lunch in Mother Nature. There's several things. One is, I want to say this, in about 10% of people will love the drug and have trouble stopping. Whether you want to characterize that as addiction, I do. Anything when you have trouble stopping, I call that addiction. And it's certainly not like opiate addiction. It's not as hard to stop as that. People do stop, but they sometimes need some help with it. Yeah. Number one. Number two, there's a typical syndrome, not everyone gets this, where it starts to affect insight and motivation. And people find it difficult. They don't realize it after a while. It essentially causes a depression in some people. Some people it causes
out of you a little bit.
Yeah, but not everybody. And some people it takes long.
In fact, some people look, Drew. It's like it's a drug.
Yeah.
Regardless of, but so is caffeine, and so is fucking nicotine, and people have this weird stigma around the word drug. But cannabis, marijuana is a drug. Drugs chemically affect human beings and how their brain fucking acts and all that shit.
Yep.
Some people, their chemical makeup, it turns people into Superman. I know people very well in the public spotlight and in my private life that they smoke weed and they're supercharged. It makes them more motivated. It makes them go.
Right.
We all, I think, know the person that we're always like, that chick could have been a lot. She could have been Ivy League, but now she's community college and playing video games all day. And that's I think it's how your body reacts to that.
Right. I mean,
I used to know this girl, Mary Kim. She is 85 pounds, if a pound, soaking wet. I would watch her drink just bottles of VSOP and whiskey, and she was fine. She was like a little Korean Lemmy. She was just like, I totally unaffected. I had a friend who played offensive line at UCLA. He was 350 pounds, honestly. And he would have a beer and be fucking drooling on himself.
Yeah.
And it's just like everyone's chemically
different. So again, but Kay was asking for the potential side effects. I
meant more in terms of legalization than.
We're seeing more. We're seeing more of some of these negative. And when it's used more, you see more stuff. I mean, look at Joe Rogan. Is he having adverse effects? No. But I have a patient that smoked 3 times and had panic attacks that trouble him to this day. I have plenty of patients having depressions that they don't understand are related to the cannabis and they have to stop the cannabis for us to be able to treat the depression. And then
I would also say let's analyze the disease of addiction too. If you are one of those people who is like a legitimate chemically addicted person, it's going to affect you negatively in some way. Now, if that means that you replace your heroin or opiate addiction with smoking weed all day,
we'd rather you do that. We'd rather you do that, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yes, we'd rather you do that.
Every single addict in this country could switch to exclusively using marijuana.
Go.
We'd be fucking tits.
Do it right now.
Do you think that could happen?
No, it won't happen, unfortunately.
If you're someone like me, it's probably not something that you want to engage in. I also will say, Drew, I would love your opinion because you're actual medically professional.
Yeah.
You're a medical professional, but I've seen firsthand people who weren't aware that they had underlying psychiatric conditions.
Yeah.
And
that's what I wanted to ask about next.
One time they smoked weed and they had to go to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
talking about serious stuff like schizophrenia and personality disorders, things like that, but they weren't aware necessarily.
Well, and Mike, there's a big body of literature, and we're talking about rare phenomenon, but they do happen, and it's still not a settled story yet. And what's his name? Berenson wrote a book about Alex Berenson wrote a book about this, where he made it seem like it was a settled story. I'm not sure it's settled yet, but the debate is, does it cause this psychotic illness or bring out a psychotic illness, or bring out a psychotic illness in somebody who is predisposed but never would have had it? So there's three different cases, and we don't know which, or it may be all. It may be all three. It probably is all three.
That's the situation that I'm leaning towards, and I base this on nothing. I'm not a learned man when it comes to this stuff, but just from anecdotal experience, I knew a person. I don't want to narrow it down too much, but he or she they were a little odd, but they certainly didn't show any signs of serious mental illness.
Right.
And he or she took an edible like for fun, and like they had months and months of serious psychiatric struggle trying to get themselves back into the normal
That's
circle.
right. That happens. That happens. Very rare, but it does happen.
That happened the first time I ever did edibles, to be honest with you.
Tell me more.
I was, it was great. I ate my body weight in cake and woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning with that whole, when you go to that place in your mind where it's like, oh, my parents are going to have to visit me in a mental institution because that's what I've done to myself. And that went on for about 2 hours. And then I just completely blacked out, went to sleep, woke up the next day with like the full body memory of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's when, like, you can ask all my friends from university. I left every party early. Like, I'll still, like, drink, I'll still smoke a lot of pot.
Yeah.
But that kind of effect was, like, I know how it affected me, and that was just a short-term impact.
I was going to say, that is just a large dose. That is not what Mike's talking about. Mike is really talking about permanent serious mental illness. Permanent.
But that's what I was terrified of having.
Right.
Realization that that's what people need to really
And Kate,
go through.
riddle me this. Are we calling it pot or weed? I've never seen anybody your age call it pot. Is that just because I'm sitting here?
My dad's an old hippie, so that's what I was raised on. I was raised on smoking pot.
Got it. Perfect.
It's regional, too. It's like, I think, it's just like pop and soda.
Yeah.
I
No
also
one
like
in
to
LA
call
is
it
like, I
pot.
just had me a pop, but if you go to sit in the different parts of the country, that's the only way you describe it.
And so, Casey, you were trying to ask a question there before Mike jumped in. Yeah.
Actually, I had a question for Mike. So I hear something about impressions.
Well,
I don't do any good ones. I'll do them, but I don't do any good ones.
I thought I could have sworn that you were kind of known for doing impressions.
Well, why don't
wasn't there an Adam Carolla or something?
The shitty thing about me is like, I was watching Frank Caliendo do impressions, and he's one of the best in the
Genius.
Awesome.
And I was like, I do impressions that good, but they're only for people I know. I don't do any good impressions that like I can take and like monetize. It's always like some overnight DJ at K-Rock.
Can you do George? Your friend George?
George, my friend?
Yes.
Not on a live Zoom without getting arrested.
That's what I figured. So would you see if Rudy's available just for a minute? I'd love to talk to him if he's around.
Yeah.
So Rudy is Mike's friend. He used to come on our radio show together all the time. And Rudy's lived a life, and he's kind of a philosopher now. There he is. Hey, Rudy. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm not like the best, but like, I'm always different levels of happy, so.
Mira, you look a little blazed out.
Yeah, well, I'm fucking awake, dog.
Okay, I get it. How's Sad Girl? Uh-oh. Oh man, I'm sorry. What's going on?
Oh God.
Well, no, like she's good, pero like the lockdown, she can't exercise as much, and like there's been a lot of like stress eating, so the fupa has become more pronounced. But I love her, like.
It's pretty fucked up, man.
Anthony, no, don't laugh, Anthony.
Anthony thinks it's groovy.
Hold, everybody. Hold. Rudy, I think they're having a reaction to what you said about poor Sad Girl and her weight issue. I know it's been a problem in the past. Tell them what you did before to help out.
You know what they say? I was like Shakespeare or Cheech and Chong. Some motherfucker said, boner is in the eye of the beholder, dog. Like, I still find her to be the most beautiful. She looks like, to me, still looks like young Linda Ronstadt. But,
nice. Good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you guys. But explain to people what you did for her previously when she had a weight problem?
Well, because she was like, and I want to make it clear, you could be any weight. It's not a reflection on you as a person.
She was upset, remember?
But my wife, the woman I love more than anything, I will watch her struggle and even Mira cry, and I thought like for times, I thought it was teardrop tattoos because she has those too. But then I looked closely and I was like, oh, damn, she's really crying, because she would look in the mirror and she would see some nalgas or perhaps, like I said, a fupa or one of these things. And then and so I put her on pinche Weight Watchers or the keto diet or whatever the fuck, all these different diets,
Yeah.
CrossFit, all this bullshit. And nothing was working. So I just said, it's time to fight fire with fire. And I talked to my homeboy Kuka in Pomona, dog, and I got some scante, some methamphetamine. And I started sprinkling it in her food, in her horchata and shit, secretly.
Horchata?
And she lost 185 pounds.
Oh, God.
And she was...
Well, it wasn't at that point. It was like more like 120, and then something else happened to get the other 40.
She started pulling her teeth out, which I thought was like a bit extreme.
Yeah.
But then, I didn't think much of it, because I was like, whatever, I'll get dentures.
Right.
But then she cut her leg off because she thought there were bugs in it.
Oh, no.
Thought there were bugs in there?
Yeah.
She was picking at the bugs,
There were bugs in there, fool. So
yeah. That was rough, man.
yeah, no, she had one less leg. She only has two.
I know, man. I know. And explain to I know I'm seeing Anthony Brown watch you with great intensity. I've never quite seen this look on Anthony's face before. but would you explain to Anthony your experience in prison? Because Anthony, at one time was a drug addict and was in and out of the pen all the time. He may have met your guy, your roommate.
Love, fist bump, digital fist bump, dog. Because you've been through it and you came back a better man. I love that. But, for me, prison wasn't all that bad. At first I was upset because it's Vato Trucha. He was my cellmate. He started to get ice for my asshole. He you could see he zeroed in and he was like, when you see someone look at a luscious snack and they're yummy, delicious. And I have a very nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, it's buddy. Very well manicured.
Yeah.
And so he started to take that from me with his genital.
We get you. And
but like Nexium or some shit like that, I started to like it, and I told Dr. Drew, I got out of prison and I started to fondly think back of the many nights he would push my face down.
And it was not mutual at the time, right?
No, but then I got a Stockholm butthole, where I started to convince myself that I needed it,
Is that Steve Kilpatrick?
I don't know. See, Anthony,
Anthony,
would you like to ask any questions of Rudy? Maybe
I'm incognito.
Oh, there's Steve. How are you, man? Look at you. He's got his Rudy stash on.
I have a question.
Go ahead,
Rudy,
Steve, go ahead.
How do you get your mustache to turn down like that? Do you use product?
And not only that, I heard he had sort of cut it down a little bit. He grew it back out. But go ahead, Rudy.
It's genetic, fool. I wish I could give you some tips. You could definitely shave it in a certain shape, but for me, it was some vatos like Raleigh Fingers or a boxer, 1910, their shit goes up.
You mean with the guys with Art of Charm guys?
Accent, or some shit like that, like hyenas used to straighten their hair. You do that. Sometimes I used to do a flat iron just to give it a little more gusto.
So I literally have never seen this look on Anthony Brown's face before. So I want to give him a chance to ask you any questions, should he have any. Anthony, anything you want to ask of Rudy?
First of all, Rudy, you just made my day. I mean, outside my door is real insanity. and I come in, and when you first said getting blazed up, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm in the right spot. But, that whole Stockholm butthole thing, cool. So, and at the food party, you lost me.
Fair enough. Well, he's got more. He's locked and loaded. Don't you worry, Anthony. There's a whole world of material in there. So Rudy, are you working at Jamba Juice anymore?
Well, no, because of lockdown, fool.
Oh, right, of course. So how's the lockdown affecting you? Okay, you living there with Catherwood. What's going on?
Yeah, because my grandma's, she's like old, So
I can't believe she's still alive. She was old when I first met you.
I know, she was old when I was born.
In fact, I thought she was dead the last time we talked.
Alive. She's like, Mira, like Larry King. I've been old forever. I don't understand how.
Well, good for her. You love her.
She is, but she's like, a very dangerous demographic to be hanging around.
Right.
I still go do things. So Catherine was like, come stay in my back house.
I get it. So you're staying with him so you can keep your grandmother on lockdown. That's good. And is that girl taking care of your grandma or somebody else?
Yeah, it's been the best situation ever because I'm not with my wife.
Something you and I have not talked about, the Hispanic community, particularly in Los Angeles, has been really clobbered with COVID. I mean, people are not talking about this enough. When I see the numbers, it's just staggering, frankly. Any of your buddies, Cricket or your gang, any of those guys get hit with this thing?
Nah, everyone is all good, fool.
Oh, good.
Because we've all got it. But,
and you just did fine.
Who powered through?
Who powered through it? Who from the group got it?
Oh, that Vato Parameters, the homie Beetlejuice, Game Boy, Let It, the homie Spatula, that Vato Monte, Brutus,
Ghost,
little Pipa in Pacoima, all those.
And I remember Cricket was still dealing drugs last time I heard. Is he still?
That's how he got his name, dog.
I understand.
His pager will be like chirp, chirp, chirp all the time. So like it's fucking Cricket. He's in the house, dog.
Well, there was little Cricket too. Did he pick up where Cricket left off?
That's his cousin. So.
Oh, his cousin. Okay. Well, Rudy, thank you for stopping by. I want to talk to Catherine again. I'm glad you're well, and take care of yourself, my friend. Okay.
All right. I love all you. Everybody, stay safe.
All right, Rudy. Take care of yourself. Bring Mike back. So that's our buddy Rudy. Rudy, you can follow him. He has daily what do they call it? Kulo Breaker.
I think that's it. I have a memory of it.
I'll ask Mike if that's exactly the way to spell it. But that it's he has daily affirmations. Hey Mike,
how'd that go?
Yeah, Rudy's up to his old tricks. But how does he spell his the name, the Kulo Breaker?
Culo.
Yeah.
Breaker.
Okay.
Okay, I did it right.
And he has daily affirmations people can follow, right?
Yeah. Sometimes he gets lazy and it's like only a couple times a week, but it's a good feed to follow regardless.
Fair enough.
Right there.
So, other questions from people. What are you guys thinking about today? There was some interesting stuff yesterday about the measles vaccine. I'm still fascinated by
MMR.
The MMR, which I during the last measles outbreak in Southern California, I just gave to everybody, and now I'm glad I did. Looks like there's some cross reactivity with COVID. Did I give it to you, Mike? You still can't take vaccines. What are you going to do?
Yeah, listen,
by the way,
I have a question.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be too self-serving here, but I'm sure there's others out there like me. So, Dr. Drew was promoting the flu shot about a decade ago.
Let me frame it a little better. I've given conservatively 10,000 flu vaccines in my career, and I hand it out to everybody I know. Now, Mike, go.
We're on the air.
Yeah.
And Drew's like, hey, go out, get your flu shot if you can. It really does help. It's not blah, 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 blah. He's doing all, the whole thing. And he turns to me on the air. This is on Loveline. He goes, Mike, have you had your flu shot? I go, I've never had one before. And he goes, well, I got some with me. Would you? And I said, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. So Drew gets the needle, he goes in, puts it in my shoulder, and Bob's your uncle. So we finish the show, and I go home and go to sleep because I have to get up at 4:35 in the morning the next day to go to Kevin and Bean. So I wake up, my alarm goes off, and I definitely don't feel very good, but it's also I got 3 hours of sleep, and I do that 5 nights a week, so I didn't think much of it. I always shower and brush my teeth, everything the night before so that I can just get up and go straight to work. I don't want to waste any time when it's that early. So I threw on a sweatshirt and I drive to work. And the first person that takes a look at me is like a overnight board operator. And she goes, what is wrong with your face? And I'm like, what do you mean? And I walk into the bathroom and my head's like a pumpkin. So,
like really huge.
I'm now starting to like be a bit curious as to what's going on, but I also didn't panic too much.
Youth.
We start the show and we open the show and we start talking, and Kevin and Bean immediately, the first thing we want to talk about is Mike's head is 15 times the size of its normal size. So they start talking about it. Drew happens to be going to the airport that morning super early and is listening to Kevin and Bean. Calls in, he's like, take him to the hospital immediately because he's having an allergic reaction to the gluten.
Anaphylactic, what is it called?
Anaphylactic. He wasn't full anaphylactic yet, but he was having a bad reaction. He could affect his airway. That's what I was concerned with.
Well, yeah, my throat was
to
closing up.
Yes.
And Bean just said you were probably hot once.
And so did you go? I don't remember. Do you go to the ER?
Yeah. And they were like, "What? Why did it take you so long?" I was like, "I had to have a doctor tell me to go." To be honest, I'm an idiot. But my question is, knowing that I have that reaction to the flu vaccine, am I exempt from taking any further kind of?
It's a great question.
Is it the egg in it? Or
it's
something?
the albumin, yeah. And I'm guessing they're going to have some sort of protocol or alternative for people like you, and I'm waiting for guidance. Mandrash Kazvili, if you're in there, what do we do with people that cannot tolerate normal vaccine? There are different ways. This vaccine may not be developed the same way as a flu vaccine because it's this RNA vaccine, so it's possible that you don't even have to worry about it. And I know people in your family have the same reaction, so you can get the vaccine. Well, they won't give it to you anyway. You're too young. If
too Mike got COVID, he would probably survive.
Correct.
Because he's very healthy and he's got low body weight.
Correct.
He doesn't have diabetes. He doesn't have cancer. He doesn't have asthma.
But because of all that, he probably won't get the vaccine until way later in the course of all this.
He's not a high risk person. He's only 40. So, but you only have 20 years, Mike.
I'm 41, mind you.
41.
Damn, you're old.
So you have.
Damn. You want to insult him too, Susan?
I miss 41.
19 years younger. Yep.
Yeah.
Me too. Yay, 41.
Are you, Kristen? You're 41.
It's a good age.
I feel like that's I'm in my prime.
Kristen, how many kids?
I'm 41.
Kristen, how many kids do you have?
3.
3 kids. What are the ages?
I've got a vintage 10-year-old. I've got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Mike's thinking about having more kids. What do you want to tell him?
So,
it doesn't matter what I'm thinking about. It's what my wife's thinking about. Like, I can't just force that upon her. It's not like adopting a dog where I could just bring it home and be like,
it kind of is. I mean, well, the difference is you could put a dog in a crate and not go to jail. If you put a kid in a crate, you're in deep trouble.
Oh, the good
Depends
old
on
days.
what country you're in.
That kind of stuff.
There are people. Lolo Locomotive is asking for us to revive Loveline, you and I. Also, Andrew's telling us that the Regeneron data looks better than the Eli Lilly data, and I'd heard that too. That's why I want the Regeneron product, if and when I get sick with COVID.
So, what does it mean we're in a lockdown now?
I don't. Well, I heard there were 6,000 cases in LA County today.
Really?
Yeah. And that may put us over her 4,500 thing, which is saying that everyone has to shelter in place and all that BS.
Oh, my God.
Which I don't think people are going to listen to,
Happy
frankly.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Right, exactly. But 6,000 cases is a lot. That's a lot of cases. It's 6,000 out of 11 million. I was trying to figure out.
Recounting them? Remember how they recounted?
I know, but I was
no,
no, that's live cases. No.
Okay.
But I was trying to figure out whether or not LA County's reaction seems so out of proportion to everybody else. I started looking at Chicago and Cook County, and they have twice the cases that we do. And they're not in a lockdown. So I don't understand why our lovely county has to be special and set their boundaries so low. But we do need to do something. Why?
Because it's the mecca of unbelievably self-righteous assholes.
Well, there you go.
I'm honestly like, here's the deal. I do not hold any kind of strong political feelings in either direction. I'm pretty much on no one's team.
That's where I am. Yeah.
My political feelings.
Yes.
But this I will say without any really hesitant is that I'm really fucking tired of extremely wealthy celebrities saying that if you don't just stay home and lock up in your fucking house, you're a completely dangerous person and you need to be doing that. And I will shame you if you don't do that. Because you know what? I know firsthand, every single one of those assholes is still having their housekeeper come over and their gardener and everything.
That's
it's
right.
like, well, I'm here in my palatial estate, and I'm not
Exactly.
in a position where I'm financially having any problems because I've been liquid for the last fucking 25 years. So let me now sit up on my high horse like a condescending prick and tell everybody else, don't at all concern yourself with the fact that you're going to go broke and you're probably going to be evicted. I need you to stay home so that we can just get by, so that I can feel better about myself. But please, I need to have someone medevac to my house to cut my hair, and
that's right.
My eyebrows are perfectly
True.
on fleek.
Yeah,
Do
and
as I say, not as I do.
100%. And listen, I want the LA County Board of Supervisors and the LA County health officials to suspend their salaries, to donate their salaries to a good cause until such time as you open
or
other
pay for
people's
those people to stay home.
Amen.
pay for their businesses and pay for the jobs that are missing. They imagine how quick that lockdown will end. So I'm with you, Mike. It really is disturbing.
Dr. Drew?
Yes.
I heard that Newsom is now in quarantine.
With one exception, he's having his 89-year-old grandmother, I just saw on the thread here, over for dinner. But he's in quarantine because he's in quarantine because he was exposed to COVID. He and his family were exposed apparently.
At the French
Probably at the
During-
French
was that
Laundry.
during the dinner? Was that during that dinner that they had?
God, would that be ironic, wouldn't it?
I feel so bad for
It would,
Thomas.
and there's a photo. There's a photo on social media of Governor Murphy in New Jersey, with a large gathering having dinner last night.
I heard about that, and I like Murphy too. I'm sorry that's happening to him, but listen, man, you got just walk the walk, or else don't talk the talk. It's pretty simple. Don't tell us all what to do. Yeah,
I think we can all, as reasonable adults, understand. Like, everyone's life's different, and even if people are lawmakers that are creating different narratives for the general public, you go like, yeah, well, I'm the governor of a 25 million person state, you know, and I'm sorry, you know, maybe I wasn't. The optics of it weren't great. But just like when here's an example, and I will throw this out to the panel here. When I ask you, name people that come to mind when I say steroids in baseball.
Mark McGuire,
Sammy
and I'm sure you'll get the names. Barry Bonds, McGuire.
Those are the three.
Clemens, right?
Yep.
Rafael Palmeiro. I know he was. You know, we could stay here 25 minutes and let you guys all
Manny
name
Ramirez.
one name that'll never come up. Jason Giambi. You want to know why?
Why?
Yeah.
Every single other person in Major League Baseball during the 90s and early 2000s, when steroid abuse was at its peak, every single one of the people was like, I choose not to comment. I plead the fifth. Those were from my wife. I know we have receipts of it being said. Jason Giambi said, I'm really sorry. I get paid a lot of money to hit home runs, and a lot of people are relying on me, my teammates and the fans. And I hope you can forgive me. It was a bad decision, and I've learned from this, and I honestly hope the fans can forgive me. No one ever fucking talked about it again. It just vanished from fucking people's head. And if Nancy Pelosi walked into a goddamn hair salon and she said, you know what? I know I've been telling people to wear masks and to not get hair, but I'm the Speaker of the House. And I'm sorry, I totally lost and the optics of it are terrible. I understand how it can look pretty hypocritical, but you understand I'm on TV to millions of people every day. So I did have to get my hair done. I should have worn a mask, and I'm really sorry. And I apologize to this salon for any negative press that I may have brought them.
Thomas Keller.
I understand. I'm sorry, Nancy Pelosi. Go ahead and do your job. But when you do I was set up, and this salon was clearly in on it with some right-wing conspiracy. Then you just dig this fucking hole so deep that none of us, because all of us have an IQ over 100, and can go, what the fuck are you talking about? It wasn't said, you're a very, very, very narcissistic person who's in the public eye, and you wanted to get your hair done. So just own it. Just own it, and then we can all move on.
Exactly.
And if everybody lived by that ethic, we would have 1 millionth less divisiveness and anger at all the rest of them, because the people who are these figureheads for the rest of the public would kind of be relatable and understandable. But this notion that because there's a camera on you that you have to pretend that you're this incredibly perfect, pristine little museum piece is making the problem a million times worse.
Apparently, it was Cuomo having his 89-year-old mom over for Thanksgiving, not Newsom.
Really?
I got that wrong.
Oh,
yeah, sorry about that.
And Dr. Drew,
Yeah.
he was blaming. Today he had a press conference for an hour. First off, nobody understood what it was about, despite the fact that the cases are going up in New York. And he's complaining it's up to you, the people. Everything's about you, the people. And the problem is, as Alex, you mentioned Alex Berenson, he's actually written 2 books, and I think he's getting ready to write a 3rd. Unfortunately, virus is going to virus. Look what happened in Australia. They locked the whole country down for 110 days.
And it comes back.
And now when they reopen, there's cases.
Yeah.
And now they're going to shut it down.
Well, and that's what Dr. Kelly Victory keeps saying. That's sort of her position when I interview her here, is that the virus is going to do what it's going to do no matter what we do. But if our goal is to not overwhelm the healthcare system, okay. But we seem to have left that goal completely behind in the name of eliminating death from the virus or something, which is just unrealistic. Now, I do believe we have to change our behavior in response to this virus. We just do. But I think we know that. I think most of us do it. I'm sort of a Cuomo fan also because
he's getting a little weird though. I watched him.
Well, we watch
morning
his stuff because we spent a lot of time in New York.
No, I followed him at the beginning, but I was watching him today, and he's getting really aggressive, and I don't dig it.
I agree with Susan.
Right, that's the part that we're having trouble with.
And also, as a matter of fact, another little fun fact today. Our Kelly Victory Lauren Sivan video was censored by YouTube today.
What?
Because of the content.
What was in it?
We were giving out bad medical advice, according to YouTube, which I don't give a shit because it's up on Periscope and Facebook. So if you want to go watch it there. But YouTube is checking our content. And so first they said something about Zelenko, the interview we did with him recently, and because we had to upload it on YouTube a couple of days ago, but that one's still there. We're uploading it also on Locals and Facebook. But I was very surprised. I told the guy that we work with at YouTube, I said, you know what? I don't care. You guys suck. So, but basically it's probably because Kelly talks about not wearing a mask, and she's adamant against it. I don't remember what the conversation was when we lost our sound on that show. But you guys, you know what? You can go watch it somewhere else. You probably already saw it anyways. So, but it was very interesting.
Look, obviously it's not like this is a hoax. This is a very real thing. It's a very dangerous. It can be fatal for a lot of people. We all understand that. But indefinite lockdown and pressing pause on everyone's life in America is not a solution.
And censoring them.
There's no possibility that that's the way to go, to just say, everyone stop working.
Yeah.
Stop having any social life.
Stop
and
talking.
Don't leave, and then we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, and already, by the way, with mental health, and Mike, you'll appreciate this. I feel like they're forcing everyone to live like a drug addict.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think you and I talked about this at the very beginning of the lockdown. I said, Drew, I don't know much, but I do know therapy. I do all types of mental health shit, whether it be complete hippie nonsense, all the way up to cognitive behavioral therapy and psychiatric medication. I've run the gamut for 2 decades, right? And every single endeavor that I've ever had that was involved in mental health and developing sustainable happiness, the one common thread they all had was make sure that you live as a social person, because human beings are communal, social animals.
Right.
We are not these lone wolves.
That's exactly right.
It's vital to our long-term sustainable happiness to develop connection with other human beings and to maintain that. And
yes, sir. Yes, and yes, and yes.
No, it's true.
Don't just take that away.
Well, that's what Kelly says all the time. That's her.
What disaster are we planning for if we're just going to take that one thing? The one thing that I've noticed to be the common through line in all types of mental health examination. If we just remove that, I can't possibly think that that's a good thing.
No. And the opioid use overdoses are off the chain, alcohol deaths off the chain, suicide off the chain, depression up, and no more worse with anxiety than the 8 to 15-year-old. Is your daughter affected by this?
Oh no, I mean, my wife and I have just done everything we can to bend over backwards to get. Now, granted, I want everyone to know my daughter's 6, so it's much different than.
But some of them are affected by it. How's your
Yeah.
psychiatric care going? Everything kind of lined up. You're feeling good, that kind of thing.
I feel a lot missing by not being able to go into an office and look someone in the eyes.
Or
and
go to
talk
meetings.
The Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a nice substitute, but it's not cutting it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it.
The Zooms.
Love telehealth. Yeah, the telehealth twice a week. I see my therapist. Love it.
Yeah.
I think in lieu of nothing at all, I think it's beautiful.
It is. It depends what your needs are.
Glad we have it. For
Yeah. If I were in therapy right now, the kind of stuff I need, Zoom would be completely inadequate for. Completely.
I'm actually glad you brought this up, Drew. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But the main reason why I like it so much is because it's so hard. Actually, the other Mike, Chrono, kind of made a video about this as well. It's stressful getting to the office. It's stressful sitting in the waiting room with another stranger where he's thinking, what's wrong with that guy? You're thinking the same thing about him. Then you get in, you're all stressed out and freaked out, and then you finally get to sit down. Then you got to be open and honest and all this other stuff. It's so hard to do. I think in my own house.
That's greatly dependent on your personality and your makeup. Because for me, it's very similar to working out, for instance.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people love at-home workouts because they get the comfort of being themselves and just going into the garage or doing it. For me, it absolutely does something psychological to get in my car and go somewhere and make a conscious decision to go and do and then subject myself to the very real stress and the kind of awkwardness that does come with doing it in front of someone. Mm-hmm. To me, that just kicks it up a notch as opposed to makes me more conscious. It actually makes me a little bit more brave because I guess I would assume, Drew, help me out here, but some people thrive in the fight or flight stuff, and some people probably are aversive to it.
Yeah,
I need it. I'm that guy.
Yeah, this is the thing that's
I've ever done in my life. I waited until the last moment.
I would say the last 3 to 5 years of psychiatric and psychological thought, one of the things that I've seen evolve in a very positive direction is the more we've always wanted to do things personalized for individual patients. But more than that, now we're acknowledging that different things work for different people. And that came flying home to me that we're getting there when I heard somebody give a talk about mindfulness, who's an expert in this whole phenomenology. Mm-hmm. And, mindfulness has been the cure-all. Everybody needs it. And she went, no, 20% of people get worse with mindfulness. Worse. It's not good for them. It makes their anxiety worse. That's science. And I thought, oh yeah, there you go, because I don't like mindfulness myself. and I thought it made me worse. And I thought, yeah, now maybe I'm not doing it right and blah, blah, blah. But but the bottom line in all those observations is you need highly personalized interventions for your particular needs. And that's exactly the case that Mike's making here.
And by the way, the same thing goes for physical stuff.
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Mike, but did you have a hard out at 3:30 for Magnolia?
Yeah, no, my wife's probably fucking fuming.
All right, go, my friend. Go. All right, listen, we miss you. Let's hang out as soon as the lockdown's over, whatever.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll talk to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, man, see you soon.
Sorry, he's
Mike.
only 13 minutes late. I didn't mean to shoo him off.
No, good, well done. So now back to our panel. What you guys have anything you came to the session here today with? Anything you want to talk about? Any concerns? We're obviously in the middle of a big old outbreak, but lots of good news. Good news is breaking out as well. Regeneron's being distributed.
Mike pretty much says everything
I want to talk again about that Cuomo press conference. I know I'm watching the stream about it.
All right.
One thing he said, he said, "Oh, people are laid back because now you hear the vaccine's coming." He says, "I'll make you a bet that the vaccine's not coming for 6 months."
Oh my God. Well, in a way, let me just say, he's right. And I'll tell you again, he's right in that the average person won't see the vaccine for 4 to 6 months. The average person. Right, but I will tell you what, Pfizer today said they plan to have 100 million doses by December, which is incredible.
I've heard that.
So that is going to take care of all the healthcare providers and all the very at-risk people. Whether or not, Joe can get it or Steve can get it, we'll have to see. But he may be right on that front. But on the really the people for whom we have to be very concerned, they're going to get that vaccine soon. Now, again, there's a lot of emotion about how long the FDA has taken in doing the approval process. I don't know. I heard there's a pre-approval committee meeting now. We'll see how long they take to get their act together. Who else got something to say?
Yeah, building off of the Cuomo thing.
Yeah.
Joe, are you in New York?
I'm sorry?
Are you in New York, Joe?
I am.
You can't tell?
Where? Where? I'm going to guess.
I'm thinking like.
No, I'm thinking sort of Queens towards Brooklyn.
No, I'm Long Island.
Long Island. All right, fair enough.
And here's a quick Dr. Yo comparison. I was born in Flushing, and I live 3 miles away from Shea Stadium, so hence Dr. Yo and I.
There
and I've
you go.
actually been messaging back and forth, Dr. Yo, about, and we're talking about the Mets.
Of
so
course.
I thought yesterday to end it because I mean, again, I'm a meteorologist, and of course, you could see the weather stuff behind me.
Nice.
Yes, and that's what I've done for 17 years now. And you know, one thing, I can understand scientific language, but yesterday it was starting, and I'm glad that Kay really was there, because it was starting to become a little more too scientific.
Yes.
Well, we were getting into the.
If you saw a previous show, I was in that position as well.
Yeah, we got really bad.
My eyes glaze over.
Yeah, he and I got really bad a couple
I get a glass
weeks
of
ago.
wine.
Yeah.
I get a cigarette.
So she asked Kay to come in and straighten us out a little bit. But I thought we stayed pretty much in line with not going too far. No.
Like it's so funny. So Joe, I'm not a meteorologist, but that was kind of like my dream job.
Really?
My undergrad was in geography, and I wanted to do like climate science, right? Like that's what the kind of paradigm is. And meteorology is really hard. Like it's really difficult.
It is. The amount of physics, physics that you have to take is insane, between physics and calculus.
Yeah.
It's horrific. And that's why I was laughing so much, is because you were saying like, oh, I'm a meteorologist and I didn't understand it. My brain went to like, fuck, obviously that's why you didn't understand it, Kay. Like, it is actually that complicated if the meteorologist can't do meteorology.
So Joe, it's sort of fluid engineering, right? Fluid physics?
Yeah, I mean there's atmospheric physics, there's ocean physics.
Yeah.
Transpiration.
Oh my God.
That's one of the words I know.
Synoptic meteorology, which is forecasting.
Interesting.
And, I mean, there's 2 courses of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's math. It's all math.
It's all calculus.
Yeah. Which is amazing and fun, and I dig it. I'm trying to resist having a conversation about climate science, because I know, we go down a rabbit hole that maybe another day.
Andrew said something about helping April on Super Chat. She needs telehealth.
April, I didn't see April.
Is April somebody else? Is that flipping? Birdie?
Yes, she. There's a young woman that was on there a couple days ago. That I think she's now on day 4 of COVID, and I had given her. I recommended a site. I hope this is okay.
Go ahead.
The site is called speakwithanmd.com.
Interesting.
And they have been. Yeah, well, Zelenko is Dr. Zelenko is the person who kind of set it up with. Have you ever heard of Richard Urso?
No.
And
what was
Zelenko
speak to him.
Speak with an MD.
Speak with an MD.
And MD.com.
Yes, and there's 2 sites. That's the one. That's the Zelenko one. Then there's one by Stella Emanuel. I forget that name, but
any telehealth to me is a good idea if you're stuck at home with COVID. I mean, I'd like to have somebody with eyes on who knows, sick from not. This is the thing that people don't understand. The one thing, all physicians know is when somebody needs to go to the hospital. We just know what that looks like. We also know when somebody's dying. We know what that looks like.
I don't know. I don't see April because
I didn't either. I looked for her. I don't see her.
Let me look on
Dr. Drew.
Yeah, Joe.
I have why are doctors? I mean, this is now 9 months. Why are doctors still not prescribing medication when people are sick.
Well, because of the credo, do no harm, and the fact that the process got adulterated. The process, I started thinking about, how we respond to novel and new medical problems. We share amongst ourselves, we improvise, we do lots of different things that may or may not work. We try things, and that was sort of prevented in this case. And the literature got off in the wrong direction very quickly, where people were trying to deal with early illness, the viral phase of early illness, and all the literature got focused on moderate and beyond cases, severe cases. And I understand why that happened, but it didn't solve the problem of treating people early to prevent them from going to a more moderate state. And I'm finding now, I've noticed a lot of doctors are starting to form little underground conversation groups and talking and sharing and thinking about things. And there's a lot more stuff going on all of a sudden, I notice. We'll see if it makes a difference. Again, because as usual, when things move forward in medicine, our behavior as physicians, like this happened in psychiatry all the time, which we would start doing things before the medical literature caught up with it. That sort of was a routine thing in medicine. And somehow, because of the politics of this present moment, that became reprehensible. Not just anathema, but somehow reprehensible. And I'm here to tell you, it's just that is not the history of medicine. So we'll see. We'll see if people come up with interesting things. It's a viable question, Joe, and I think it's kind of changing now.
I found the question.
It's just baffling.
I can't find
From
it
April?
on the restream. Yeah. She said, I'm sick on fourth day of terrible COVID symptoms. I'm 45, been alone with my 13-year-old Chihuahua since June, and can't get meds y'all talk about. So,
well, she should go on that website then.
Or go to a hospital.
And what they do is they will mail in 24 hours medication, and they use the Zelenko protocol.
I don't know if she's still there. It's a question because it was a while ago, but
I think I mentioned to Dr. Yo yesterday that there's some data on doxycycline being useful because of raising intracellular levels of cholesterol, which is a really interesting way of interfering with the viral replication. Okay, who's got other questions? Anything else up there?
Yeah,
how do you get it?
Anthony, what's up?
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure we're going to get the vaccine. I'm pretty sure we're going to.
You're what? Say it again.
I'm pretty sure we're going to get the vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my question is, how am I going to convince all my staff that this is something that they have to do? I know we're an at-will facility, but I can't get rid of nurses right now.
Yeah. I don't think you can force people to get the vaccine. I think that if you're going to have to get the hospital's lawyers to have people signing off on the decision making that they make, both directions, frankly, because you don't want them to feel pressured to do something they don't want to do, and you don't want to come back to work uncovered when they could be covered with a vaccine. So this is kind of a medical legal question. There's an ethical piece underneath it, which is, should you somehow, and this again goes quickly into legal, but should you be somehow offering some education to assuage people's anxiety to increase the probability to take the vaccine? I would say yes. I think that's sort of your ethical obligation. But we also have an ethical obligation to cover people's agency. And I am very sympathetic to people who want to wait for the live attenuated virus, the more traditional protein vaccines. I get why they want to wait. I get it. And I don't think we should be forcing something else on them. So that's the best I can do, Anthony. But you're going to have to talk to your attorneys for sure. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Are you going to take it?
Huh?
You going to take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah. We'll make a party of it. I can't get it fast enough. So, yeah. I missed Jeff's suit, Flora May. I did miss Jeff's comment. What did he say there, Flora May? Susan's looking for it right now. I assume that nurses have already looked into it. Yeah, Sarah Moore, but I'm not saying indoctrinate somebody, but I'm saying give them some good data that you at least know they got, that you can say, I've done my due diligence to sort of give them what I think is a reasonable body of information so they can make their own decision.
And also Flipping Birdies has given, she's She doesn't ask questions.
Is flipping a male or a female?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm female. I can't find the super chat.
Suzanne, no, the traditional vaccine. Well, is the AstraZeneca is an RNA vaccine too? Is it not? Does anybody know that? I believe it is.
I thought it was a traditional.
I don't think so. I think it's an RNA vaccine. Can somebody help me?
Adenovirus.
Oh, it's an adenovirus. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a adenovirus. It's the carrier, or the whole story is an adenovirus.
That I don't know. I was listening to Dr. The guy at the UK. I'm blanking on it.
John Campbell.
Campbell. Yeah, he explained it. They took a cold virus,
right,
and she modified it and then put it in this vaccine,
right,
stimulate the immune response.
Well, that's good news. Then there you go, Anthony. Your team should have options.
So
wait a minute.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Real quick. What about the whole California Review Board and all that?
Oh my God, I don't know. I hope they step the hell out of the way. That when they came up with that, I was pissed. Because it just is delaying. If they delay it more than a day or two, you'll hear me yelling. You'll hear me yelling.
So Jeff asked, how accurate are the saliva tests for COVID?
Some of them are good. Some of them are very good. That's the best I can give him. Some of them are very good. Depends which one you're using.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Steve.
What's the previous record for bringing a vaccine to market?
I think it's on the order of 4 years, if I'm right. Is anybody? But again, the manufacturing of the RNA, the reason they went after the RNA vaccines first is that they are orders of magnitude more quickly produced. So you can produce tens of millions, literally 10 times faster or 100 times faster than a traditional vaccine. I don't know what it is about the process that makes it so easy to ramp up, but that's why they went there first. They sped up the traditional research. They didn't skip any steps. They just went at it as quick as possible and sort of overlapped some of the elements that normally you would just do in sequence. And then while they were doing the testing, we're already manufacturing the vaccine. So everything was done sort of simultaneously. And normally you wouldn't do that because that would cost you money that you would possibly lose, right? If you're a business, you wouldn't make that bet. But in this case, well, one company did make the bet. Pfizer made that bet, and that was kind of a bold move. Moderna took $2 billion to make that bet, right? They hedged their bet. So it's interesting. All right, you guys, we've been going for about an hour and a half. It has been a privilege.
We're helping people. Our people are helping people.
Yes.
Drew.
Oh, I know that about our people. I know
very
that.
Happy with Joe's talk to an MD.
No, that's what I was hoping for in the locals thing, and you guys are doing an amazing job, and that this would be something of a community that we share ideas, because this is what's been missing for the last 4 years, everybody, right? Where people discourse, share, grow.
Like Mike said, we need to communicate. We're social.
Yeah, Mike kind of hit it. Oh, here's Flipping Birdies again. Hold on. I picked the name for a game I was playing on an app. I don't know how to change it. Are you asking us that, Flipping Birds? I picked the name for a game I was playing on an app, and I don't know how to change it. I don't even know what Flipping Birdie's talking about.
It's a game on an app.
Flipping Birdies
Flipping
is?
Birdies, yeah.
Oh, I see.
And she keeps paying $5 to get her attention.
And is it a she or a he?
Or a he. I don't know. Are you a he or a she?
Well,
or a they? Or an it?
Samantha Newton says, I love coming to these live. You guys are all awesome people. They love Catherwood.
Yeah, he's a
I
good
thought
guy.
this was an OnlyFans subs. No, Andrew, it's not. It's locals. What's that? Somebody's saying something.
Yeah, Dr. Drew,
Joe.
April just got back to you.
Who did?
Because I'm watching the feed at the same time as I'm on here.
Who got back to me?
And watching the different comments. So she did get your response.
Oh,
And
good.
She said her fever was back up to 103.
Yeah, she needs to get, at the very minimum, she needs to get an. Well, we don't even know if she has COVID, right? Has she been tested, Joe? Do you know?
She said she had COVID. She's on day 4.
She's got to get a digital oxygen monitor, an O2 saturation monitor, because if she's 103 fever and her saturation is dropping, she's got to go to the hospital. Yeah, you can have it delivered tomorrow by Amazon. They're like $30. And they work very, very, very well. There are cheaper ones out there. I noticed that there were
$17.95.
I saw the $17 one. I was afraid to buy it because I thought, I'll split the difference.
There she is, April.
April's here with us?
I'm putting in my info now.
Okay, April, we got you.
Oh,
We're
hey,
here.
Dr. Drew. Oh, sorry.
Yes, Kristen.
Oh, no, it's Diana.
Oh, Diana, there you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the one that was talking to you about that other drug, the bamlanivimab.
Yes. You're the infusion nurse.
Yes.
Yes.
And it is from Eli Lilly. I think you had talked, they're just going to be giving us out batches, and then we have to report it back to the government agencies. So I'm not sure
who is it who are you giving it to? What are the criteria?
The criteria is, I wrote all this out. Let's see. Hold on just one second.
Because it's a monoclonal antibody, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I would take it in a second. I would take that if I had mild. I would give it to April. I would give it to April.
It's basically it is for the use of the let me see here, mild to moderate COVID-19 in adults,
mild to moderate
pediatric patients with positive results of direct SARS COVID. That are at risk for progressing to severe COVID-19 and/or hospitalization. So it's going to be on an outpatient basis.
Great, I love it. How does it has to be physician prescribed, right? You can't just say, April, I want this.
The head of our hospital will be the one that will talk to the patients, and they have requirements that they have to ask. And if they're outpatient, it's not authorized for hospitalized due to COVID, or who require oxygen therapy, or who require an increase in baseline oxygen flow rate due to COVID-19, and those on chronic oxygen therapy. So anyway, we're going to start, I think, next week.
Let us know how it goes, because I have high expectation for the monoclonal antibody interventions. I think it's going to be a really good thing. And it may be as important as the vaccine therapies. Hey, Buckhorn Imports.
They can get it out of outpatient.
Yep. Buckhorn Import says, I'm trying to ask always that H1N1 damaged my lungs, but I always get here too late. So Buckhorn Imports, H1N1 damaged my lungs too.
Really?
I have hyperexpansion. I have morning cough. I have some
that's true.
I have some bronchiectasis from it. It's, every time I get a chest scan, it shows up. And H1N1 was horrible beyond horrible. It was just ridiculous.
Guess what?
What?
Flipping Birdies is a guy. Sorry,
okay, that's what I thought. For some reason, I thought Flipping Birdies was a guy. So.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I hope I didn't.
But Diana, give us a report on that. I appreciate it. Diana, you in Washington? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Washington State. Yeah, absolutely. No, I will for sure let you know.
You know what? Your voice. I figured out what I told you. Your voice sounded familiar to me. I have a patient who every time you talk, I think it's her, and it's so weird to me. I mean, it's exactly like your voice.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Uncanny.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but
just a thing. It's neither good nor bad. It's just a thing.
I'll say it's really low.
All right. Anybody else? We're gonna wrap this thing up. You guys have been great today. Kay, you feel good about stuff?
Feeling great. It's so nice to just listen, and I think what Mike said about community, I think you're creating one here that I think a lot of us wouldn't otherwise have. So thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and it's you guys are creating it, and if you go on the locals thing, you'll see there's a lot of good stuff going back and forth without all the disgusting Twitter, Facebook nonsense. Yeah, with all the disgustingness. I was actually really depressed today because every time I went on Twitter, it was just like, ugh.
I'm going to post a nice special picture from Mike Catherwood of the cactus he sent me and reminded me to book him.
Okay. Hold on, everybody, and you'll get a sense of Susan and Mike's sense of humor. Yeah, it's not something for public consumption.
Well, I used to have
that should be on the fans only page.
This.
And then
Thanks, Jane.
I'm afraid to show it now. You might get mad at me.
No, I don't. Well, YouTube will take us off. What are you talking about? Put it on local.
That's true.
What's that, Tom's? What? Show it? Yeah.
Just show it on Zoom.
Go to locals. It's all right.
Somebody will be angry.
You can trust us.
And by the way, were you vaping or smoking a cigar today?
Cigar.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I started looking. I'm like, damn, is he vaping?
No, I only vape.
I was a little disappointed.
I'm joking when I say I vape my own white.
Okay. Well, that's now okay. So that is a reference to After Dark. I urge you to go over and see After Dark if you have any questions about what he was talking about.
Yeah, so you'll have to be a member to see the cactus. You gotta sign up because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
It is funny.
It's not.
But it's a very mild version of Mike's sense of humor. He sends pictures that are far, far worse.
He's terrible, but I don't know.
So you guys, great job. Let's keep communicating. I feel like I learned a little something today, and
We have a little fox going on.
And I
tonight.
feel better. I feel better. And this is the deal. Social contact makes you feel better.
It makes us feel better.
Yeah.
Works. Revolution.
Rash revolution.
Just wanted to shout out Flipping Birds.
Use your First Amendment, folks. That's all I can say to California.
Yeah.
Look, he's in the background.
Rash revolution. Oh yeah, look there's the Tiger King. There he is. Look at
Seriously,
that.
if they locked down in Florida like they did over there, I would be at the mayor's office with a dumb sign in my hand.
Yeah. I think it'd be smart. Listen, the numbers on Florida and California mirror each other almost exactly. And now we'll see if California goes out of control. We'll see if Florida goes out of control, rather, but I don't think so. California is actually accelerating more rapidly, it seems to me, in spite of. See, all these lockdowns and things may actually be doing nothing. And it's even possible it's making things worse. That's possible. So let's watch the data, and it's certainly hurting us on the emotional front, on the mental health front. All right,
and the bars are packed. So.
That's what I'm wondering. What the college community is adding to the old.
They're very definitely a driver.
And everybody's
very
flying
definitely
home for
driving.
Thanksgiving. I was reading something about that. So
very definitely driving it, and they're coming home for Thanksgiving. So we'll see what happens.
But
I actually have to go do this Fox News thing.
What's wrong with coming home for Thanksgiving? That's stay home. Don't go back to school.
All right.
Give it to grandma.
Tomorrow, I don't think I have time to come in, Susan. I think we're not on tomorrow.
I don't know.
I'm looking at After Dark all afternoon.
Yeah, you've got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, but we'll be back.
We do have an Ask Dr. Drew on the Wednesday with. Oops, sorry.
Jason Ellis.
My bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have Jason Ellis back, and should be fine on Wednesday. We can take your calls as well, and then we'll do something else after that.
Yeah, we'll be able to get in across the week.
I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thanks, Joe.
I don't think we'll be here on Thanksgiving.
We'll have another group. Yeah, we'll have another big chat before it's over.
Put on dinner for 8 people. So
8 people now.
Well,
I hope you don't get raided.
6, 7. No, 7.
Yeah, right. Where the Gestapo will come in, the Hitler Youth.
I mean, it's usually 20, so we're streamlining it this year, and I'm just cooking for the family.
I think it's actually like 6 because Adam's going to blow through here.
Oh, Adam, that was the other one.
Yeah.
Adam might come by, and then Kay, of course, is going to be here for dinner. Apparently she can cook.
Right on. All right, you guys, we will see you on Wednesday, and we'll do another chat soon. Thank you so much.
And be sure to watch Fox.
Thanks,
Yes, he always does that. I'm not ready yet. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Real talk. Headlines have become sickening. They become poisonous.
Dissecting headlines.
Defying state orders. Sheriff Bianco not enforcing what the governor is saying.
Dialed in with decision makers.
Clarify what you actually meant.
Get the answers you need.
At the beginning of this, we were told don't wear a mask. Is this really helping?
Expect a different kind of newscast. Fox Sullivan News Special Report. Weeknights at 7.
The World Health Organization estimates that each year approximately 1 million people take their own life. That's one death every 40 seconds. Experts predicted numbers would peak in 2020, but no one could have imagined the devastation brought on by COVID-19. During the coronavirus pandemic, you may experience anxiety, sadness, and loneliness. Existing mental health conditions, including severe anxiety and major depression, may worsen. If you're feeling hopeless, contemplating self-harm, or you're concerned about someone else, I'm here to tell you there is hope. A Mission for Michael is dedicated to helping clients achieve complete inner and outer transformation. Mission for Michael is the premier resource for intensive mental health treatment in Southern California. With an astonishing 2-to-1 client-to-staff ratio, each client in their facility receives individual care 24 hours a day, overseen by a team of all doctorate or master's level clinicians. With a focus on evidence-based treatment, along with personalized and compassionate care, they offer mental health treatment that can change lives. If you're suffering from mental illness or you're concerned about a loved one, go to amfmtreatment.com. Again, that's a Mission for Michael, amfmtreatment.com, or call 866-581-4401. Again, that is 866-581-4401.
sure if Frisco live, Susan's in the background somewhere.
Look, he's here.
She's out there. She's out there.
Susan's back.
They're still here.
He's like,
Yeah,
we
I'm
turned
just
the
chatting it
lights
up.
up and they're still here.
You look very nice today, Wendy.
Thank you. To know me.
Aaron's here. But thank you guys. You're
Thank you,
wonderful.
thank you.
Drew's reading up on whatever he's going to do tonight. He doesn't have his earbuds in. So we're going to. And I have to go make a chicken for my son because he has a stomach ache. But you guys have a really good evening. I'm going to have
Thank
to turn
you.
you off now. Say goodbye to your fans.
Thank you.
Bye, Doctor.
Susan. Bye,
Oh,
Doc.
I turned his mic off.
Bye, everybody.
Let's see.
Bye, everyone.
See you
All right, I
later.
guess I should go to work now then.
Okay.
Yeah, Anthony. gotta keep on keeping on, baby.
Hey, you know what? Life is groovy.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Okay, you
it
got to
is.
quit talking to each other so I can hang up.
That's right.
All right, bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Well.